Hello and welcome back to Rain or Shine Farm. I'm Camille. We're located in Southwest Washington State in Garden Zone 8B. We got chickens and ducks, an indoor cat, and about 26 acres. So today I'm going to be doing, last time I talked to you about fall seed starting tips and what I was going to start. Today I'm going to actually start them. You can see how I mix soil, what kind I'm using, labels, what I'm starting for fall, and then I'll show you my lights set up at the end when I got them underneath that. Okay, let's get started. All right, so this is my potting bench area. I'm all set up for today. I went and got some potting soil. I just got a local organic potting soil mix that's kind of good for anything. You can buy seed starting specific mixes that are very fine. That's nice. Personally, I usually just get potting mix, especially in this late in the season. So I got some out in my trug here. As you can see, it's not super fine, but it's doing pretty well. You can see some perlite. I believe that's the white one. Usually they have perlite, vermiculite. Actually, let's look on the bag. Okay. It says here, it's got fir, bark, moss, or peat moss, compost, pumice, sawdust, lime, blood meal, feather meal, fish meal, and bone meal. So it's got a mix there. Peat moss is not great. When I make my own mix, I use coconut coir, which is basically like the husks of the coconut, like all the material on the stringy material on the outside of a coconut that they grind up. Wow, my chickens are loud right now. Apologies. Okay, so I got my soil. I am going to use my handy dandy watering system. So you can, this is just water from the spigot. My spigot is not super close, so I'm just gonna pour this in here a good amount, and then I'm gonna mix it up and see what I think. I'm missing my little rake thing that I like, but anyway, so when you're making seed starting mix, usually, at least if you're just going to do it by hand in containers, you want the soil to be able to hold together slightly. So this probably could use some more water. There we go. Okay. So it's getting a darker color. You can see it's sort of clumping. Make sure to, so I like using this little like forked tool that I have. I think it's in with the ducks because I use it to turn their bedding. But yeah, the main thing is just to make sure you're getting all the way to the bottom where the dry soil is. I'm kind of turning it over. I'm going to get my gloves on and then I'll show you kind of what we're looking for here in how it holds together. Gotta find my gloves. Gloves are now equipped. They have holes in them, but they will do fine. So you're kind of, this is still a little dry, just clumping together a bit. It's decent. The soil seems pretty dry to me. Around here in the springtime, when we get bags of soil, they're often like soaked. And we have a lot of fir and bark type things here. It even said that on the package, right? So you can see it's pretty big clumps. It's not really ideal for seed starting in that sense, because seeds are very small and can get stuck under it, but it will do. I'm gonna add a little more water, stir, and then we can get into starting our little seed packs. Okay, well, if you checked out last video, you know this, but if you didn't, these are the seeds I'm going to start today. So let's get into those. I have burgundy sprouting broccoli, Brussels sprouts, collards, kale, parsnips, more broccoli, cabbage, beets, rutabaga or turnip, and what's last? Mustard greens. And so I counted, I have 10, I believe that's 10 packs of seeds, and 12 6-packs can fit in my container. So I'm probably just gonna go 2 of probably the broccolis of each kind. So then I'll have 24 broccolis plants, which would be a lot if I, like, all of them germinated and all of them were big enough and everything like that. So, okay. So now we have those. So now I'm gonna grab my little 6-packs, which these are ones I use already this season. Down here, I'm gonna fill them all up first with soil. Then I will put labels, and then we will plant the seeds, top them off with more soil, and then we'll take them over to the lights. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna turn off my timer. I'm canning, water bath canning, 20 pounds of tomatoes right now. Well, almost. I got 20 pounds of tomatoes yesterday. So I'm making sauce, tomato sauce. So yeah, right now, got my soil. I'm just gonna put it into my little 6 cells. Use my hands to kind of flatten it. I'll show you guys at the end so you can see them a little better. So, I'm gonna fill them all first. And I like using a little bucket like this, a trug. I'm just kind of trying to level off the top. You want to kind of pack it down. If there's any big chunks of stuff, like here's like a pretty good piece of bark, I just toss it in the outside of my tray that's underneath my bucket, and I'll just toss them in the yard later. And I usually just kind of take it and then I rub my hand like this on top of it. If there's any cells that don't have enough soil, just take a little bit more, pat it. My tray is full. These are all fairly full. I did like hit them, so when I do it, I take one of these and I level it off, and then I do that, and you can see here they've slightly sunk. So yeah, I put them all in here. Okay, so now I will label and get my seeds out. And for this part, I usually take my gloves off because I'm putting tiny seeds in, and it's really hard to do with gloves on. So it's time to get your hands slightly dirtier. I'm going to see if I can get you guys in my angle so you can see better. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to keep you focused on here. I know you don't get to see me, but hopefully this will be pretty good so that you can actually see what I'm doing. So, okay, I said I was going to label first. So I have some of these labels. So some are plastic, some are popsicle sticks. I'm going to use these ones that I got from GreenStalk when I ordered more stuff from them last time. Okay, we're going big marker. This is nice. It's a garden marker, so in theory it doesn't fade in the sun. Water and fade resistant. It's just harder to write with. So I'm going to put broccoli, F1 sprouting. There we go. Okay, so I'm probably just gonna try to do 1 seed per, just kind of shove these in slightly. Actually, so usually I use an old, sometimes these popsicle sticks break. So you can either make a hole at first or shove them down after. So I'll show you here. The seeds are fairly tiny. So I'm going to take them and just push down slightly. There are some seeds that are supposed to sow on the surface. So if it says that on the back, that's good to know. So I need to write another for the same label. I'm going to write Brock F1 sprouting. So now I have those, and we will move on. So this is done now. So I will usually take this and put it in my garden journal. I definitely do that for perennial plants. I just think it's a nice record. I just use like a glue stick and I tape it in. That way if there's something you really like or something that you definitely don't want to grow again, you'll remember if you want this to buy more seeds. So, okay, on to the next one. These are Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to write Brussels sprouts. I think I only have 1 seed pack. The part of the label that goes into the soil will be hard to read later, so just remember that. That's why it's, so sometimes I'll write broccoli on one side and I'll write the variety on the other, like for tomatoes. I have a lot of these seeds, so I'm going to double sow them, which just means I'm going to put 2 in each one. Also, these are old seeds, so. And you can always look on the package or just search the variety if you want tips on should you double sow them, should you sow a bunch in one container and then like take them out or prick them out. So that's done. Okay, so this one I have tape on it, so I just put the tape back on. I'll take this out of my next container. I'll put this down, which is my system to kind of know, okay, I planted those. So I actually do have a collards label, so I can put that in here. Okay, so that one I already have a sign, so I'm going to press them down again. Put the seeds in. Okay. Kale is next. So this is kale, red, Russian. This is my favorite type of kale. But for kale, personally, you don't need that many plants. Like I said, once the plant is kind of substantial size, at least where I live, they don't really die. They get buggy in the summer, which just means a lot of bugs eat the leaves, and they get like aphids on them, but they're still alive. They just don't really like summer, so you can just pick the leaves off. If you have livestock, you can feed it to them. If you don't want to eat them, you can also just wash them off really well or soak them in the sink, and they will what am I trying to say? And that's one way you can do it. So parsnips have really big seeds. So I'm going to put one on each area. These parsnips are not going to be very happy having been planted in a container to start. Maybe I will plant some of these outside directly as well, and we'll see which does better. I planted them in the spring a lot, and they do really well. They have great germination, like basically 100%. Unlike carrots, carrots are harder. I did just forget to label those, so beware. Parsnip. Now we are on to the different broccoli. I think I'm going to do these two. So I have mustard, beets, rutabaga, cabbage. Okay, so I can do both of these with broccoli. This is calabrese sprouting. This is an heirloom one. The other one was an F1 variety. So these are two different kinds. F1s are usually bred so that they're more resilient. So if you have issues, like pest issues, or you just want a really substantial crop, you can buy F1 varieties. Usually, let's see if it says on here. Usually just means if you save the seed, it might not save to the exact thing that you planted. So just beware of that. Okay, so we did brock, and then I gotta do another brock. Okay. Green Express, these are from Epic Gardening. I got these as part of like a big seed pack. They were at the Northwest Garden and Flower Festival that's in the Seattle Expo Center 2 Februarys ago, so February 2025. I went there with some of my family for my birthday, because my birthday's in February, and I love doing garden stuff, and there's never any garden stuff to do really in February, in most of the time in the Northern Hemisphere. Most gardens are dormant, so that was very fun to do, and they had a tent there, so I got to meet Kevin, Espiritu, and Jacques. If you've watched Epic Gardening, Homestead, or Gardening Channel on YouTube or Instagram, you know them. Yeah, I got to meet them, and they did a whole like Q&A session where if you asked questions, they gave you swag like free seeds. I have an Epic Gardening hat that I got for asking a question, so I was very into that. So this is a rutabaga. Yeah, I think I asked them. I had watched a video on the Epic Gardening channel about growing your own spices, which I think is cool to do, and I was asking them what are their favorite ones to grow. They do live in California, so their weather is not so much like where I live in Southwest Washington, where we're very rainy, and not very sunny, at least for a good portion of the year. And so they talked about growing peppers to make your own paprika, which I thought was cool. So I did that last year. They don't really like to be watered a whole ton, or at least they really don't like water on their leaves. So if you ever wondered why your pepper plants aren't doing super well, that is one big thing you can change if you do that. Right now I overhead water mine and they are not enjoying it. I need to get some washi tape for these seeds. So last one are the autumn harvest blend of beets. I have some of these already in the ground outside. It actually says, obviously, an autumn harvest of these. So hopefully my ones outside will start to bulb up in the next month or two. They're small right now. And these I can get going for winter. Okay, so we are all labeled, and I'm gonna go ahead and put soil on the top of all these, and then we'll take them into my garage where my seed setup is. Alrighty, so I got all my seeds planted. I'm gonna put my seeds back in here. These will get recorded in my garden journal. Put my marker back. So you can take each one of these out. Maybe I'm gonna do that because this is a little messy. We'll see. See how this goes. So I'm just gonna basically try to top up every little container, and I'm gonna pack the soil down just so that hopefully the seeds are all covered and will stay moist. And then I'll take them into my seed area in my garage. So basically I'm just going to fill them to the top of their little containers all the way across. So you don't want to move the seeds around too much. That's why I like to get the soil wet-ish at the beginning. All right, looking pretty good. So here's our finished seeds. And now we can go set them up in the garage. Tray in one arm. There's the chickies. They were super chatty earlier. But they must not hear me right now. Alrighty, now here's my light here. So I'm gonna want to lower the light to basically be as close as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Basically I have these chains here and I'll just lower them down and I'll turn the light on. So I gotta turn this bad boy back on and turn on the lights. So this one, it's got 4 light bulbs, and this is the 2-foot one, so this will be great. Goes perfectly over one tray. Maybe I can prop you up while I show you how I do this. We'll see. See if you fall. So I use these S hooks. And basically, usually they come with it. I'm gonna try to lower it as close as I can. Let's see, I'm trying to make it even. It's decent. Could be a little closer, actually. Okay, this side's good. And for these, I don't need any heat on them. That's kind of the whole issue about fall seeds. So that's all I'm gonna do. So you can see here, it's pretty close. I don't really want it touching the markers, but about as close as it can be. This, I have a timer down here. It's set to the correct time. So that will keep the lights on and turn them off in the evening. It's just like a Christmas light timer. So that's that. And then these will stay in here and I'll just make sure to water them. You can use like a spritz bottle at first. That can be kind of nice for the seeds because you don't want to displace them. And then once they get a bit bigger, I usually just take one of these out and water the bottom of it. But for now, they'll be good to go. Okay, well, that's all for today. Garden's out there. My nice primrose here. And the duckies. So, all right. Thanks for joining me for seed starting. I'll see you next week. Oh yeah, I said I would show you. So, here's my tomato sauce that I canned. I got 7 pints and 3 quarts. Hopefully these are enough at the top here. I'll make sure that they all seal. They're looking pretty good right now. I just took them out. So here's my giant water bath canner. So these will sit here for 12 hours and in the morning I'll wipe them down and label them and put them all away. So first tomato canning of the year.